Hello and welcome to another Street View exploration video. This time we're going to be exploring the Texan city of San Antonio. This is not a place that I know very much about, but the thing that I have heard about it is that it has a very attractive riverside area, which looks as though it's just here. Immediately I noticed that the central hub of the city is relatively small compared to the huge sprawl of it, but I suppose that's not atypical of North American cities. I think what we'll do today is we're going to go from one of the further extents of the river within this ring road, and we'll walk into the middle and see what we find. Along the way we're going to be looking out for beautiful architecture, beautiful street design, and I'll be generally making remarks to amuse myself. We've got the San Antonio Museum of Art up here, so I think that is probably a good place to start. Let's find out if there is street view coverage along the extent of the river. I was hoping for something more like this, more continuous coverage, but I think what we'll do is we'll just start off in a few of these 360 spots. Now I have to say this is not what I expected. Given how far south we are in Texas, I was expecting a much drier climate, especially in the month of May when this coverage comes from. But this is very attractive, I must say. I like the overhanging foliage here. I'm not totally enamoured with the architecture, but we must remember that this is not a place that has over 1,000 years of history like some of the European cities we've looked at. All of these buildings were probably built, if not within the last 50 years, maybe even earlier, maybe even more recently. It looks as though, and I find this strange considering that this was captured in May 2021, we've got some Christmas decorations. It's strange for me as a lifelong resident of the Northern Hemisphere to see Christmas juxtaposed with this summery palm tree. But let's keep moving, shall we? Let's see what's to be seen around the bend. A lovely sunny day, a year earlier in May, and although it's perhaps not the most inspiring, I do have to say that there is something pleasing about the shapes of the windows here, the little nods to colonial architecture. And with that, I think it may be time to join up with the more continuous coverage. Where's the river? We have lost the river. Okay, maybe just over here. Yes, okay. And we're back. This style of stonework reminds me very much of Spain. I remember seeing in a lot of places, just in residential properties, this style of inconsistent stonework is very popular. Inconsistent in the sense that all of these stones are different sizes and shapes. But that is very much to its benefit, I would say. Very handsome. And these funny gnarled trees. There's something about not gnarled exactly, but twisted and tangled. There's something about the quality of the bark here that almost reminds me of like a theme park attraction. You know, when you'll see a tree that's kind of made of plastic, not a tree, obviously, a theme park decoration. It almost looks a little bit unreal, perhaps. Perhaps it is. Or not. No, they've... okay, so it looks as though... No, I can't work it out here. I was going to say that perhaps they've shaved away, they've carved away some of the excess of the trunk here, and that this, I think this is a bench, was perhaps the full extent of the girth of the trunk, but I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm quite baffled by those trees. In terms of this building here, I was looking at it earlier trying to figure out what I thought of it, and I think on the whole, especially from this angle, I quite like it. It's a lot more steel and glass and modern than I would usually be interested in, but given again that we're in North America, I suppose I may have to take what I can get. There's kind of this very American, optimistic, early 20th century kind of feel to it, although I'm sure it's a newer building than say the 1930s. There's a little bit of the sort of the Art Deco about it. I like it. And I like again the stonework here, and then in fact this is quite well done. I like these pieces on top with a regular pattern of slightly larger stones. It sort of reminds me of the motif that you see above windows in a neoclassical style, and a very lovely bridge over here as well. It's all surprisingly clean and well kept, and maybe it's just because we've not quite got into the centre yet, but it doesn't seem as though there's anyone around. Just wondering about this sign. From further away, it almost looked as though this was kind of hand-drawn, the font here, but evidently not. Okay, so the coverage is taking us up here. I'm just going to take a look at the map and see if we can continue without going up. Have we taken a step back here? Or? Yes, we have. Alright, okay. Let's maybe jump to over here. And we've finally seen some pedestrians enjoying the riverside here. Nicely coloured tiled roofs with the rounded window extending from the. Is this a mansard roof? It's unusual to see it in that colour. And nice little shady area there where you can perhaps take some respite from the hot Texas sun. Looks like this is a representation of the course of the river through the city, perhaps, or indeed perhaps through its full extent. Are these little mosaic tiles kind of representative of fields or blocks of land? Looking at it from afar, I thought perhaps it was almost kind of reminded me of an Australian Aboriginal design of a snake or a river or something. Just something about it brought that to mind for me. Another mosaic here. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at, but can't say I dislike it. Quite narrow here, isn't it? Would perhaps be difficult if you were pushing a pram along or walking in a large group, and nothing to prevent you from falling in. It's often said, I think, that the Americans, because of their highly litigious society, are often overly cautious with safety infrastructure, and they think of the Europeans as having very little in the way of guardrails and extra precautions like that. But right here, it's another story. Looking a little dirty and rusted here. The exposed metal making a contrast from the stonework in the bridges we've seen so far. This is truly very lovely, isn't it? Again, it has just something of the feel of a theme park about it. There's something just not quite real. But you know, given a few centuries to settle in, this may well start to feel a lot less like a theme park and more like a really lived-in, historied place. Now, of course, this river probably does have a long, long history, but in its current course, which seems to have been diverted, you know, we can tell here that this is a canal, a relatively young feature of the landscape. But you know, a lot of care has gone into this. Very nice lamppost designs, lots of greenery planted everywhere, mosaics, quite beautiful really. The stonework, yeah. In fact, even just this circular motif in the paving, the extra shrubbery planted, really nicely done, this development. I wonder when it was started and how long it was worked on. The bins, let's be honest, leave something to be desired, but they could be worse. They could certainly be worse. The quality of the water here, or the quality, the cleanliness perhaps of the water, difficult to gauge from this coverage. Pecan Street, or as the Americans would say, pecan. We're getting perhaps towards the downtown area, maybe approaching it. Still got a bit of a way to go. I'm enjoying this a lot. I wonder if this might become a two-part video. I was expecting to get through this perhaps a little bit quicker, but you know, there's a lot to comment on. And isn't that incredibly inviting? And I notice also that there is no graffiti here, at least not yet. If this were a European riverside, the place would be absolutely plastered with trashy designs and ugly paint. But they've kept it very clean here. It seems as though the local people really respect the place. Just lovely, the trees up here. There's so much foliage, in fact, and so much greenery that it obscures a lot of what otherwise would be quite uninspiring architecture. You know, even this has got something about it. I don't usually go in for something that's so nakedly geometric in its design features, but you know, it could be worse. Quite like that too. Families walking. Very nice, these arches. Yeah, lots of just little features, little touches here. And here we have a better view of that building. Very early 20th century. Quite imposing. Sort of reminds me of some of the skyscrapers that you might see in New York. And then that juxtaposed with this looks like brickwork, but the brickwork and many of the buildings kind of have this pale sandy colour, and then set against the glass. Oh, it's quite appealing. I think if you've got a young city which doesn't have a lot of historic architecture, then you know, you start to be able to appreciate a bit more what you do have, even though normally, if I saw this in Europe, I'd be saying this is ugly, this is nice, or, I mean, this is very unimaginative, it has to be said. Not too impressive. Yeah, I don't know, North American cities often don't do it for me. Perhaps through the course of this series we will find some that do. But anyway, let's try and get back onto the riverside to continue our walk. And heading back in this direction. I think this would be a great place to go for a walk, take your lunch break if you perhaps worked in one of these buildings. I'm assuming they're office buildings. Wouldn't it be great to just to take a coffee, take your lunch down to the steps here, find some seating, and enjoy the sun on the riverside. Okay, now we're talking. I mean, they're small things, very small ornamentations, but they go a long way, especially in my books, they go a long way. Yeah, I really like that. This fluted design kind of reminds me of a cornucopia. Fantastic, these tall palm trees. Isn't this a great scene? Isn't this a great picture? It's new architecture. It's different to the kind of thing that I usually like, but it's got something. It's got something in a place that always has blue skies, heat, sunshine. I begin to appreciate the beauty of it. Some sort of restaurant seating area. Yeah, lovely. We may now be beginning to enter the kind of the main drag. Yeah, we've got this this kind of extension of the river out here, and we're coming up to the cathedral. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a few more steps and we'll see if we can spot a little bit more liveliness, a bit more activity perhaps. But we're going to have to return to the San Antonio riverside for a second episode of exploration, I think, because it's really enjoyable to promenade along. I do love the sunshine on the leaves. Just gorgeous. Living in a country, as I do, where sunshine is few and far between and is to be enjoyed at every available opportunity, I must say I'm sometimes envious of people who live in warmer climes. Gorgeous. Truly, truly lovely. Now that is a very large tree. That must have been here for a lot longer perhaps than these, what I imagine to be more recently developed paths. Well, I think just here, with more to see further down the riverside, we are going to call it to a close. But I will be back for further exploration. If you've been enjoying the music in this video, you might want to take a look at my first channel, which I'll link to in the description. That's where I upload all of my music. And I will see you next time.